wrong with us, or we're cursed, or the, God or fate has it in for us. And we start to see ourselves in a different light that creates tremendous self-blame and also tells a person that they can't navigate the world safely and effectively. And I've seen this just over and over again in people who are traumatized, who have almost reflex of creating a story about how that is their fault, and it says something that then changes how they view themselves and they view their place in the world. It's part about why trauma is so evil, right? Is it does this through shame without us knowing.
Yes, and does it actually chemically alter our brains? Does
Sure.
it cause a permanent memory that we loop over and over and over again unconsciously so that it's constantly happening?
Yes, it absolutely changes our brains, and it can change our brains in an amazingly diverse number of ways. But one way, and the way to maybe which you alluded is it can change memories, right? But it's not necessarily changing the memory itself. But what it's changing is the meaning of the memory, right? The memories themselves, they don't have a meaning until they're linked with the emotional side of it, right? So that's why things that seem like happy memories, so a person who before trauma can think back to like winning an award in high school or in college and how good that was, right? Or can think back to a good relationship, right? And how good it felt being in it. Those memories can change and they can become deep, right? The memory of winning an award can be all like that's when good things could still happen to me. Or that's when I used up all my luck, right? Or that's when I had the one good relationship before things changed again. Those memories mean, and that's potentially amongst the most evil ways in which trauma impacts us, is our ability to have a clear gauge as we look at our own lives. In a way that those memories become tainted and different, and that may be, it's among the worst ways that
Well, the interesting thing is, and maybe you can explain this, is if you ask people about memories, they usually remember the bad memories. They don't remember the happy. Well, it's usually the worst birthday or the worst relationship. Or why is that? Why does trauma make such a greater impact on the memory than positive experiences?
Well, if our memories have meaning, right, only through the attachment of the memory to emotion, right, then probably, we don't know this for sure, but probably human evolution tells us that we're going to put a lot more weight on the negative than we are on the positive, because that's about survival, right? I mean, if you think, right, a big part of human history, if you were hungry and you found a new berry and you eat it and it's good, it's tasty, that'd be nice to remember, right? But if you eat it and you get very, very sick, right? So the negative emotion gets tied so powerfully, so-called salient, right? It comes to the forefront in us, and this is part of why the negative emotion that's attached to traumatic memories is one, it's so strong, and it also spreads out to all sorts of other memories. The person gets terrible, the terrible, the college was terrible, the relationship was terrible, and really we're basing that often around some very strong negative memories, around creating a you can think about how dangerous this is, right? How damaging it is, because it changes what we think of ourselves and what we can do in the world and how we can be treated by the world and how others in the world will treat us. If that all gets slanted in a very negative way, it's pretty easy to start feeling hopeless and helpless in the world around us, and then everything around us is hostile.
So it's a matter of survival. Now, is it true that we need to change the brain around our trauma? If you say that it's the meaning that we assign to trauma that causes the emotional grooves in the brain, can we trick our brains into experiencing maybe the learning from the trauma or the purpose, if there is such a thing? I mean, I don't know if there's a lot of purpose I can use, but
Oh, sure. The answer to that is absolutely yes. Except we're not tricking our brains, we're untricking them, right? That the traumatic memories and the emotion become sort of sealed within us. And then they can run over and over again inside of us without us actually looking at what does that mean, right? So someone who's assaulted, who comes away with, oh, that's my fault, I should have worn something different, I shouldn't have walked where I was walking, and bad things always happen to me, right? That's tricking the brain, right, into believing that those things are true, right? And if we put words to it, if we create a narrative of the trauma, what happened, what was actually the meaning of it, who did what, how did that occur, right? Whether it's someone assaulting someone or it's, for example, the effects of systemic